Welcome back to the 5-Star Car Guy channel. My name is Charles Lewis, and today I'm going to talk to you about the difference between purchasing and leasing vehicles. Now, when I grew up, my parents taught me that ownership was very important. Having something of your own actually meant something, which is true, and I see that approach. But I think our parents mistakenly transferred that school of thought to the purchase of vehicles as well. Now, anybody that's financially astute knows that you only purchase and buy things that appreciate in value over time. Things like property, things like artwork, precious metals, classic cars, things of that nature. You never want to purchase depreciating assets. So here's an example. Say you were going to buy a brand new car for $50,000 and you financed it over 5 years at say 8%. You're going to pay roughly a little over $60,000 for that vehicle. And at the end of 5 years, when you're done paying for that vehicle, it's only going to be worth $25,000. So, a lot of people are proud of being able to say that I own something and it's mine. But how much is it costing you to be able to say that? Number one, you don't technically own it until you've made that last payment, right? And you get that title. Once you get the title from the lending company, then you own it. But like I said, after 5 years, after you've paid over $60,000 for a vehicle, it's only worth $25,000. That's not a very smart investment. Now, when you buy a new vehicle, it's going to depreciate anywhere between 9 and 11% as soon as you drive it off the lot. It's going to depreciate 20% within the first year and up to 50% between years 3 through 5. Now, it's going to continue to depreciate after that, but it's going to depreciate at a smaller rate. So if you have to buy a used vehicle, if you have to buy a depreciating asset, it's best to do it between years 3 and 7. Make sure it's under 75,000 miles, and also make sure you have an extended service contract on that vehicle. Here's one thing that a lot of people think about, and I've thought about myself in the past, like, it's good not to have a car payment. And it is. I mean, it frees up anywhere between $3,000 and $2,000 a month, depending on what type of vehicle you're getting. So I do get that. But on our video on planned obsolescence, we talked about how that vehicle is built to fail. So even if you don't have a car payment, you're going to feel like you have a car payment with as much money as you're going to spend on the maintenance of that vehicle. So leasing is the best way to go in terms of utilizing vehicles, because you're only paying for the portion of the car that you're using, right? There's a warranty throughout the entire length of that loan, unless the loan extends past 36 months, which typically, you could do a 48-month lease, but those aren't really something I would recommend. But for the general leases, the 24 and 36-month leases, you typically, and you even have a 12-month lease, you're covered, because the most warranties are 3 years and 36,000 miles. Okay. Now, Also, you're going to get a new vehicle every 3 years, every 2 or 3 years, depending on the length of your leasing term. Now, one thing you need to ask yourself is, when deciding whether or not to purchase or lease, is how many miles do I drive and what am I using that vehicle for? If you drive over 20,000 miles per year, you are not a good candidate for leasing, because the overage will kill you. It's 25 cents a mile, and that adds up quick. I've had customers where those customers actually came in to turn their leases in, and they're like 10 grand in the hole, and that's crazy. So if you're driving over 20,000 miles per year, you do not want to lease a vehicle. If you're using it for commercial use, you do not want to lease a vehicle, because they're going to charge you for every scratch and dent and ding and bump and all of that stuff, and that adds up as well. Also, you need to think about what your credit score is. Now, typically, in order to qualify for a lease, you need to be around 700 credit score. There's some exceptions to that. If you get a cosigner or you have kind of a decent credit profile, but anything lower than a 700, the interest rate's going to be through the roof. So you kind of want to, if your credit's not where it needs to be, you probably want to focus on building your credit before you start leasing. But if you have decent credit and you drive less than 20,000 miles per year, you definitely want to lease that vehicle, right? Because you do not want to own a depreciating asset. The only time you would buy a vehicle is if it's a collector's item or something like that. You know what I mean? Or, like I said, if you're using it for commercial use. But the very best way to go about it is to lease that vehicle. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, the link is in the description. I also have a car buyer's cheat code course that you can take. It's gonna save you thousands of dollars. It's only $99 right now, so price will probably be going up within the next month or so, so you want to get that while you can. If you have any questions or concerns, you could just put them in the description and just share this video with somebody who you think needs it. God bless.